Hello, everyone.
Hey everyone,
I'm Victoria.
and I'm Carlos Luna. Today we're doing Learning Roll20. If you are watching this in the future on YouTube, this is a show where we pick a subject and we discuss it for an hour. We also answer questions in the chat. This isn't the most concise tutorial on how to do something on Roll20, but we're going to try the best we can.
Yes, we are. I was just listening to you. I was just, I was like, this
Just
sounds
enjoying
great.
it.
Yeah, I was. I was enjoying your intro and forgot that I was supposed to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, today we're doing artwork and the marketplace and artwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that's
Yep.
what we're doing. But we are going to finish up the initiative tracker because we
Yep.
didn't quite make that into last week's stream. And you have something new, brand spanking new to talk about, like
Yes.
compendium.
Yes. This has been an update on the compendium in the game section, in the game settings. So I've actually haven't even used this yet. I just know it was announced and it didn't get a lot of like we put it in our blog and we tweeted it out and all that. But it didn't get a full like marketing campaign or anything. But this is Compendium Selection. And this is something people have been asking for a long time. So I guess the use case, this allows you to pick which source books you want to use in your game. Um, Before this, we automatically had all the books for that system load into your game, so you could have access. Um, One of the problems with that, though, is what if you have a source book that you don't want to use or you don't want your players to have access to, right? Like, what if there's a certain class that you know is only in this book and you don't want to have it in your game? So, this kind of answers that question and allows you to do it. So, if you're on like a game launch page, yeah,
Mhm.
you're on it right now. Click on settings or hover over settings.
Oh, I
Did
do
I tell
this
you to
every
click it?
time.
Are
No,
you in
I
are
can't.
you
This is the one you started.
Oh, that's the one I started. Yeah. You
So
have to
I
go to one that you started.
I can't do that. I have to go to the one that I started. See,
Gotcha.
everyone? Now you get to see all the games I'm test.
Yeah.
Okay. So setting. Go to game setting.
Yes, go to game settings, and then there's a new section now under the share my compendium with players. Um, That's that funny. It's like, there's a lot of games. Yeah, right under the share my compendium players, there's now a new section that says compendium selection. And um, if you're looking at it right now, you probably have a bunch of green boxes checked.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, you can go through these now and uncheck the ones and make them not available in this particular game. So let's say there are,
No Eberron. Just
yeah,
Eberron's great, but it's not maybe best for an essentials game.
exactly. And you can just go through it. We were, people had wanted this feature for a while, mostly because, this exact reason, right? They don't want everything that their
Mhm.
players, they don't want their players to have access to every single thing that they have access to. Because players were doing builds that maybe, they they didn't want them to build.
Mhm.
And not that that's a huge problem, but it obviously saves you time if the option's not there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a really fun, you just have to hit save compendium settings and, you're off to the races.
There we go.
It's yeah, I think it's a great quality of life update that we did. Um, that that's gonna help a lot of people when they like, the hardest part about running a game is wrangling, right? Is wrangling your players, making sure they have access to things.
Mhm.
Um, but sometimes we forget, let's not, having access to everything, it can also be a problem too. So this
Yeah.
kind of solves that.
And then yeah, because sometimes too, a DM isn't thoroughly familiar with content in a book.
Yeah.
and they don't want that in their game because they're not familiar with it, and this keeps things little tidier and under control, especially for someone like me who has everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, definitely it definitely can be an issue for people who have a lot of things or
Yeah.
who wanna try like, there are people that wanted to try, other games, like stuff from Cobalt Press that might not necessarily be like Wizards of the Coast,
Mhm.
Dungeons& and Dragons, or whatever. Maybe they got, the Margrave Player Guide or something like that. Um, and what did they do? So in the past, what did they do? It would be very hard for them to set up a game and not or, they would have to cover all bases to their players and be like, "Yo, you can't use that. That's from this book. We're not playing that book." But now, no more. We fixed that.
Yay. It looks nice. It's nice and big, which
Yeah.
I really appreciate. It's not tiny drop down menus
Yes, yes. I love that.
for someone who should be wearing her glasses but isn't.
That's okay.
Thumbs
I'm wearing
up.
my glasses today. Yeah.
All right.
So let's finish up the toolbar. I think we just
Mhm.
have the initiative tracker to do. And then we can jump into the marketplace.
Okay.
Which we get a lot of questions in the marketplace. So if you have questions about the marketplace, go ahead and put question if you're in the chat and question first, and then your question right after it.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So, just, to reiterate, if you're new and you're just coming in here and you want to learn a little basics about Roll20, once you set up a game, you just quite easily press launch game. And doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Look at that. It almost worked with my doodle-doo-doo-doo. All right. So there we go. So, initiative tracker. Let's go to where our tokens are. So, we have I know we did some things to Quizzle, and I think we alright, this is too big. Let's make that small. Quizzle. Is this file connected to Quizzle?
Oh yeah, good point.
Yep.
Cool.
Cool. Alright. So, in order to do initiative tracking, the GM has to initiate it first. So you go to what is that little time tracking device there, otherwise known as a clock,
Time
analog
tracker.
clock.
Time tracker. I was watching The Last Airbender, and he has a clock in his hand, and he literally called it something like that. Like the scientist gave me a sun tracker or something like that. I don't know. It was really weird. I was like, what? And I was like, oh, it's a watch. Cool.
Okay, fine.
Watches in this universe.
Okay. So there aren't any currently that can take a turn. Well, there's this one. Right click a token and choose add a turn. Add a
Ye-
turn. There.
yeah. So
That's for a
it's
GM.
yeah, it's really easy if you're a GM. It's also easy if you're a player, but there is a step that players forget every single time, or maybe they don't know. And are you thinking the same one that I'm thinking? That you have to click on your token before
Yes.
you click the initial? Yes, 100%. If you are GMing on Roll20, let your players know this. That yes, yes, their character sheet is fully clickable and they can click any single button on it. But they have to have their token selected before they click initiative,
Mhm.
or else it's not going to get into the tracker.
Yeah. Then they'll just roll and it will show up in the chat, but it won't show up in the turn order.
Yeah,
So, once you have Quizzle or your token selected, then you just simply press the word initiative on your character sheet
yeah,
and then it
yeah,
works. Except I don't have there we go. Right there. 7. Just
yeah.
and then for a DM, because let's say you want Quizzle to fight this human fighter here. That is when you can right click and add a turn, and it's going to be at 0. And then you just click on there and manually enter their initiative. You can also just add someone. So add a custom item. So round divider, an item not in play, or if you want, you can even just add Goblin 1. Look at there. We got Goblin 1.
Yeah, those are really useful.
Mhm.
And you can change the sort order. You can do it alphabetically. Um, I actually don't know the miscellaneous for Savage Worlds. I've never played Savage Worlds.
Neither have
Um,
I.
yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it was very important that they added it in there. So there were
It's
enough people
important to
asking.
Savage World.
Yeah, exactly. There's enough people asking for it that they added it. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy, the initiative tracker.
Mhm.
Um, and then can you go through like the next turn order and stuff like that to show them that?
Next, turn over. There we go. You just press next, and it shows up who's next. It just highlights them so everyone knows whose turn it is.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. But we do understand that like if you're new to Roll20, it's all like so overwhelming, and
Mhm.
a lot of these have like their own little subsystems for using, right? Like when you're first using like the initiative tracker, you're in like a little system for just, tracking this initiative, tracking this combat. When you're in the map token layer, you're just setting up tokens and all that. So I do understand that like why things can be so confusing if you've never had someone walk you through the entire thing, because it looks like, oh, I can do anything, which you can. Uh, but what people really need, the guidance that people really need is like, what order should I do things in? Or what order should I learn things in? I think it's
Mm.
really important.
Mhm. And that's why we actually, when we worked out how to use Roll20 for this show, we're showing everyone things in an order that we feel is just easier to consume for as you're learning to play.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. A lot of times you want to do one thing or want to accomplish one thing. And we kind of did it in a way of like, well, episode one will get you going like right from the jump. You should be able to play as a player. And then we've kind of just added on and added on as we've continued with the show.
Mhm. Yeah, we started with basics and like very basics of just how to create one. Create a session and going from there. So yeah, that's the main thing is always click your token before you press initiative.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, and that's it for the toolbar. I mean, we went
Mhm.
over the advanced dice roller, the quick roller and the advanced dice roller, I think in like the first episode.
Yeah.
Those are that's really easy. And, I always recommend if you have new play, and I'll say this in every episode, I don't care. If you have players that are new to Roll20, teach them how to open up their character sheet and teach them how to teach them to click the dice roller button and just keep both of those up at the same time. And they should be good to go. Like then it's a lot easier to explain to them. Um, roll the dice. You can say, roll a d6, and they might not have any idea what that means. They might be like, okay, d6. Let me look. I don't know exactly where that is. Okay, let me hover over this little dice thing. I have no idea what these columns mean. But if you click on the dice and you open up the dice roller, you're literally looking at a D6, like right in
Mhm.
front of you. So, I'll say that every time.
Mhm. And then remember just double click the top so you don't have to minimize or close it. You can just minimize it and it goes
Yeah.
translucent. Especially when
Yeah.
you have like a whole like have you ever played a game where your GM just like starts handing you out all these handouts and you're trying to follow what's on the handouts, plus trying to follow your dice roller and your
Oh,
character
yeah,
sheet, and, that just makes things very handy and much more manageable.
for sure. 100%.
Okay, so that's that. I think we're going to the marketplace. I think we're going shopping, Carlos.
Yeah. Hold on one second. I think we had
Oh,
oh, I
question?
think the chat already answered. The chat is already I love the chat. They're already answering questions before we even see them. Uh yeah. Looks like people are answering them. So that's good. Yeah, let's go to the marketplace.
Okay.
Let's do that. Uh I love the marketplace. Um I wonder if it's on our page. Uh there's a couple things for the marketplace and I'll include this link in the chat right now. Um So if people wanted to look through it while we kind of browse and whatnot, I'll put this in there. Uh, this is the Roll20 Help Center. Specifically, it's the Marketplace Creator HQ. So it starts in the general, and then there's like a bunch of other topics as well. Um, but yeah, you can look around that. I threw it in the chat for everyone to look at. Yeah, there if you're thinking about becoming a creator, it explains like how the marketplace works, how people are paid, the split, um, why things aren't free, you know? Like I know a lot of sites have allow you to put things up for free, which is great. Like, I think there's a time and a place for, that type of promotion for sure. Roll20 has set a minimum price uh, for all of the artists that create on the website of $4.99. The idea being that, if it gets any lower, it's always a race to the bottom, which we've seen over time on other sites too, where people's work just isn't valued the same as people who are giving work away for free. Which there's a time and a place to do that, and there's you know different people have different career aspirations, right? People are fully okay with doing it as a weekend gig, and they want everyone to have it for free. The problem with that is when you have a marketplace that we really want to respect the professionals, the people that are really trying to do it in the marketplace, and kind of like even that playing field for everyone. So lowering the price to zero means they have to compete with free, right? Like a person
Mhm.
that does it, for free is in the same tier as you. So instead of having that competition to race to a bottom, Roll20 has set the price at $4.99.
Mhm.
It's good. Yeah.
Mhm. No, I appreciate that because as a creator, understand, because when you are trying to price your stuff, and if everyone is racing to the bottom and you don't want to, but then no one wants to buy your stuff,
Yeah,
and yeah,
it's hard,
it can
like
be
it, and
difficult.
I definitely see the value on both sides, right? Like everyone sees the value on both sides. I don't think anyone's debating that. I
Mhm.
think it's just a matter of like the ecosystem that we wanted to build, that Roll20 wanted to build,
Oh, for sure.
um, is a sustainable one for. I mean, people literally make their living off the site. Like there are so many talented artists that just market themselves and put them and create great content also, and put themselves out there that we they're able to live full time on um, their artwork on the site, which is great.
Mhm. It's excellent.
But yeah, let's head over to the marketplace, and I'm sure there'll be other people asking questions in the chat about the creator HQ. I'm not an expert on it. I am not a creator on it. I'm kind of versed in certain parts of the process, so I should be able to help you in that. Uh, the HQ does a lot better than I will. But yeah,
Mhm.
let's take a look at the marketplace right now.
All right. So the marketplace. This is you when you go to Roll20 and you just click on marketplace, this is where you end up. This is the main page. So we have our featured products. which we've got some Out of the Abyss just recently. That was just recently came out, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
so we are going through the backlog. Yeah, out of the brand new game, Out of the Abyss. I don't know if you guys have heard of this game yet. Uh, yeah, like we are like Roll20 is trying to go back to the catalog and try to get
Hmm.
everything, as more people ask for these things. We would like to have everything on the site as well. But again, these all have to be fit into a production schedule because it's not in a vacuum anywhere. Like it's not like, oh, we are done putting out Dungeons and Dragons books. It's just like, no, we still have to keep up with the new release schedule, and we're
Hmm.
trying to go back and do the old release schedule as well. So patience, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Hey.
Just be patient. There are definitely people that read these forums and see the ask that people want, and they're trying to do it for sure.
Hmm. Just as an aside, Out of the Abyss was the first 5e campaign I played.
Oh,
Hmm. That was the first
really?
time I played 5e was this one, this
What
module.
was it like? What was your like first 5e experience?
It was stressful because Out of the Abyss is not kind.
It's not. I've never played it. Yeah,
Oh,
I.
you start with nothing.
Oh, okay.
You have nothing but, like, rag on your back.
But rags.
Like, yeah, I ended up having to kill a spider and taking its leg, its, like, chitinous leg, and using it as a dagger because that was the only thing that I had. Yeah, it was my first experience was stressful, but,
Oh
um
man.
but it was fun. I was really into it. That
And you
that
had played
first
the
set.
other editions. You had played
Yeah.
the other editions before them?
I'd played, like, AD&D, 3.5 and 4.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started in 5e and I instantly fell in love. Um, my buddy introduced, and I'd wanted to play for a long time. My buddy introduced me to it. He's like, "Yeah, I'll run a game." And I was like, "Cool." And then the second time I played, I was already running a Dungeons and Dragons podcast. Like this is like 4 years ago, like I was just like, "Yes, I need to do this full time." So it was a very magical moment. I wish we played a module, but we didn't. Like he made up his
Mm,
own thing and
yeah.
all that. But anyways, back to the marketplace.
Back to the marketplace. You can get Out of the Abyss now on the marketplace. Yeah, and then there's a whole bunch of adventures. So you can find all sorts of adventures, whether it's for D&D, whether it's for Starfinder or Pathfinder or
Yeah,
what have
there's
you.
a bunch of different systems.
BFF, best
There
friends forever.
Yeah. There's a bunch of different systems. So like creators on the marketplace don't necessarily have to be uh people that make games, right? You don't
Mhm.
have to make a game to be a creator on the marketplace. You can create tokens. You can create other forms of artwork as well. You can create a board game. You don't have to create an actual rule book or anything. But yeah, there's like different types of people and different types of creators that we have. And what we've seen is people kind of just pick their little niche and they try to build it out consistently. So if you're looking to get started on the Roll20 marketplace, um, you know, find something that you want to um, big names aside, right? Find something that you want to start and that you want to promote and that you want to consistently work on to build, as opposed to like, I made a thing, let me drop it on there. No one's buying my thing. I don't get it. Which, that's true in every single like marketplace, whether it's Roll20, Amazon, like it doesn't matter. Like you
Mhm.
write books, you write one, and then you're done. Like it usually doesn't work that way. Um, Especially in our marketplace, like people want to invest in artists. So a lot of times we find that um, you're a GM on Roll20, you want to keep buying artwork from this particular artist, right? So you might be hesitant to invest money into one pack knowing that they only have one pack and they don't have other packs.
Mhm.
So, if you consistently put it out or you make a pledge that like, hey, I'm going to put out artwork every single month for you guys to download, like, oh, like there might be more people looking at your stuff or feel like they want to invest in you as an artist because they know to expect the quality of work that you give and that you'll have work monthly for them.
Mhm.
So that's a tip for anyone out there who's looking to be a creator on the marketplace.
Yeah, consistency. Consistency is a big thing, as well as advertising it. Create that Twitter account, engage
Yeah.
with people, and get your work out there.
Yeah, 100%. You'd be surprised at how many people, and this is true everywhere, right? I see this,
Mhm.
I used to be in music and I would see this in music all the time where like people spend hours and days of their life hard working to make one album and then it's done and they're like it's available here at this link, but they're not like connecting with their audience, they're not trying to find new fans, they're not trying to cultivate that community.
Mhm.
So yeah, um, that's definitely something to invest in yourself, invest in your community that you want to build, and that'll
Mhm.
definitely help you on the marketplace for sure.
Mhm. Okay. So that's from if you're a creator. Now, what if you're a DM and you want something cool for your player?
Yeah.
So, do we want tokens? Maybe we want some really cool tokens.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of, you know, there's a lot on the Roll20 marketplace to fit your style.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people forget that a lot of times, or maybe they don't, I'm actually not going to say that at all. I was about to say people don't want to be creative. No, that's all people want to be. They only want to be creative on this site. So I won't say that. I think sometimes people uh, feel like they have to do things a certain way, right? Like they have to have artwork that looks like this or that, and then they don't explore other artists on the marketplace or any other artists, like period. Um, I have no problem mixing and matching, like
Neither do
mixing
I.
and matching styles or whatever. Some people like seeing, round forward facing tokens. I like seeing that view from up above, that up above view. I like characters that
Oh,
look like
really?
that.
Like the top of their
Yeah.
heads and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Those are some of my favorite. Actually, let me open up the marketplace on my side and I will pull up. Yeah, like I definitely have um like favorite people for sure. There's a guy named Greg Bruni, Bruni.
Burni.
Yeah, you can just search that in the search field. You'll get a bunch of his stuff. Yeah, he's always coming out with cool stuff. Um, his stuff kind of like works over other people's thing.
I
And this
think
is my
I'm
own thing.
spelling it
Oh,
incorrectly.
Bruni.
Oh, BRU.
Yeah, Brunei. Um, yeah, and this is my own personal preference. This is not like he's sponsored by anything or he sponsored this show or anything. It's just, one of the artists that I like. There's a bunch of artists that I like on this site. I like his because I can mix and match it, right? Like I can
Mm,
just, he's very consistent with his artwork and his style. I feel it lends itself on a bunch of different types of maps. It doesn't necessarily have to be, this person's map and then this person for tokens, or I only do tokens and maps from one person. Um, but it's a good way, like, again, like if you're on Roll20 and you're setting things up, um, take a look around. Take a look around at like the different types of artists that are out there. Um, you know, yeah. And like look through, click when you go ahead and click on one of his works.
I did. We have some halflings.
Oh, awesome. I love that one. So if you find and you're like, oh, I really like these halflings, um, click his name. Just click his name, and that'll take you to his page where you can see all of his other artwork or their other artwork on there. Um, this is a great way to get into things and to
Mhm.
like go down that rabbit hole of artists. Um, and you can do that with just about anything. And we find that people do that very often. Like people pick artists that they like and they kind of stick with it and they kind of build out their entire universe with that.
Yeah. And so with this, you can gift it to another user. So if you want to gift your DMs some tokens, you can do that. You can also add it to your own wish list.
Yeah.
And then you would purchase it and you go through the purchasing thing. And then you download it. And it will show you too what all the items that are included in this pack. It'll tell you other things that you might like as well.
Yeah, you can definitely preview a pack before you buy it. Um, you can put it on a wish list. You can make several different types of wish lists if you want, and you can gift it to someone. So, like gifting, we see you know, sometimes we see it a lot with books actually, like with like source books or new modules. That's the one great thing about like Roll20 because you can share your compendium.
Mhm.
So if you have like a group of like 5 people and you guys are running whatever, and you're like, oh, Descent into Avernus is coming out. I want to run Descent. Um, you know, I want to run it for my players. It's like, ah, but I kind of don't have an extra whatever, $50 or $60 or however much it is. Um, your players could gift it to you, or you guys could all chip in the same amount of money. Everyone chips in $10, and then you guys have the book to share amongst yourselves.
Mhm.
Um, as opposed in the real world, when you buy the book, you have it on Monday, they have it on Tuesday. You all could have it at the same time, so that's really good too.
Mhm. That's nice and handy.
Yeah,
Okay, I think that's the marketplace. Do you?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the marketplace. Tokens, maps, artwork. If you are looking to become a creator, check out that link that I listed below. If you're on YouTube watching this, I'll make sure that someone puts it in the description for you. Um, yeah, I think the split is like 70-30 too
Yeah.
on top of that. So that's a really good thing. A lot of places are a lot higher. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's-
That's that's the marketplace. There's a lot of really
yeah.
fun stuff on there. And which now we can kind of show you because next we're going to be going in there talking about that art. So you purchased some really great art. Now what do you do with it?
Yeah.
So let's go to
So one of the things that I think people don't realize when they start Roll20 is that everything is already in, like, pretty much everything is already in the system for you. So a lot of programs, or maybe programs in general, have taught us like, hey, if we want to use this new thing, you have to load it, which can be the case sometimes, right? But with your artwork, it is not the case, unless it's an add-on. Like your artwork will go in a library that you can access anytime in any game on the virtual tabletop. So like right now you're looking at premium assets,
Mhm.
or your library, uh, marketplace purchases. That will always be there. So
Mhm.
I know sometimes people are like, hey, I just bought this thing. Where is it? You know, um, which is completely understandable, right? Like you bought a thing. Where is it? It's already loaded for you. So, you know, that's something that your players might not know, or if you're new to Roll20, you might not realize.
Mhm. All right. So you wanted to do some tiles, didn't you?
Yeah, let's do some tiles. I
Okay.
showed we showed this last time, so we won't spend a lot of time on it. If you're curious on how to set up a map, we kind of went over how to do the dimensions and
Mhm.
how to,
I still
you
drag
know,
and drop though.
yeah, I drag and drop too. And then I just right click, and then yeah, those dimensions are usually listed. Um, Depending on who the marketplace creator is and how they named it, they usually list the dimensions that it should be on there.
Yes.
So if you right click, yeah. So if you right click and then hit like advance and then set dimensions, you can type in the actual dimensions of that piece. What I like to do is just like, I like to drop a lot of them in there. I like to resize them, and then I'll just copy them into the places that I want them to be in.
So you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and
Drag and drop
for,
and
yeah. And they got that number because it's listed right on the image itself.
yes.
So it's really easy to put that in there.
I have so many options, it's slow. Yeah. And then you just build one at a time your dungeon.
Yeah. And like depending on what you've already set that page out to be, and we went over this last episode, so we're not going to stay on it too long. But yeah, depending on what you set up that page, depending on so there's a lot of depending, right? Like there's a lot of different ways to go about it. So there's no specific like, oh, you click this and then you have it and it will fit perfectly. Because everything is so system agnostic and everything can be set up in any which way. But yeah, this is probably one of the easier ways is to right click on your tile, hit go to advanced set dimensions and type in the dimensions that is on the tokens on the right hand side.
And don't forget to change it to units instead of pixels.
Yes, unit instead of pixels. Correct.
You don't want to do a 4x4 pixel.
Correct. Yeah. Be very, very tiny.
It'd be very difficult. And yeah, and then you just go around and you can create your map.
Yeah. Pretty simple.
Hmm.
Yeah, and just make sure you're doing it on the map layer. This works for just about anything.
I'm doing
that you
it on the
see.
token and object layer.
It's fine.
In
You could
case
easily
anyone wants to bust through those walls, that's all.
yeah, just yeah.
Ah,
It's a game that shows designing a tile map. That's what your game's about.
yeah.
So allowing your players to make the tile map
Hey,
for you.
yeah,
Um,
that would be interesting. That's an interesting concept, actually. Now you have me thinking, because now I'm picturing like this weird dungeon where the big bad person is like reading their thoughts and like feeding
ooh, yeah,
like like creating illusions and weird dungeons based on what people expect to be there.
I love that. Yeah.
That'd be
Or like I love the idea. So like we talked about it last episode where you can split the party. So you can split the party by dragging and dropping onto a page.
mhm.
I like the idea of in one, someone's building the map, and on the second one, someone is experiencing the map. I like that idea. That would be cool.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if you could have them in separate chats so they don't know?
You can oh, that's a good point. Can you do that? I think you can whisper.
Mhm,
You can whisper to each other. Um, so it's definitely doable.
mhm.
But are you saying so they don't well, yeah, because you can roll directly to your GM,
Yeah, you
right?
can. And
Yeah.
that might
So
just be
yeah.
fun, and then the other person's like, "What? You were doing what?"
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's so good.
Evil. Evil DM things. Alright. So,
Yeah.
questions. I think it's question time.
Yeah. I noticed there was a bunch of questions, but man, you guys were answering them as soon as I noticed them.
Yeah, me too.
So we love that. I love the chat ideas too, like when the chat has ideas or the way that they run things or the way they do
Mhm.
things. A lot of times we learned gaming from from their group of friends or from certain experiences, and we've knighted those experiences as like law for everyone. Everyone must be doing this way. And that's not the case, right? Like I know it's not the case because I hear a million different ways on how everyone does things. And I can tell you there's no right way at all. So a lot of times things can be surprising for people. Like, why doesn't it work like this? I use this all the time. It's like, well, there's a bunch of people that use it differently. So,
Mhm.
we try to compromise as best as we can with these things.
I wanna see what these sci-fi soldiers, build figures assassins, there's 2 of them. I'm just having fun now with art pieces.
Nice. Yeah, Molar Duck says, I really appreciate the align grid tool. I've never actually made a map in Roll20 before. This was cool to see. Yeah, it automatically aligns it. It snaps too, which is really
Mhm.
good. Also, if you hold down what button is it? Alt?
Alt.
Uh, yeah, if you hold down Alt, you can get a more precise, so you can ignore the snapping.
Mhm.
And that works for everything. That works for resizing. That works for moving, and that works for rotating too. So uh, play around with your keyboard when you're on Roll20 because there's like a lot of things that you didn't know existed simply by holding down Shift, holding down Alt, holding down Control when you do it.
When I
Um,
learned about alt,
oh yeah,
it changed everything.
yeah.
That's like, wow.
You start playing differently. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
Especially if you just have, like, a hand-drawn map on your screen, which I will do sometimes,
Yeah,
and, those aren't always super accurate like these map tools from the marketplace are, these tiles. So it was nice to be able to put things where I wanted to be as opposed to on the grid.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, oh,
Okay.
I feel like we got it. I
Yeah,
feel
I think so
like
too.
yeah. Next week, what are we doing next week?
That is a solid question that I
Dynamic
can
lighting?
are
Is
we
it
doing
dynamic
it
lighting?
already?
I think we're doing dynamic lighting already. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, pretty sure. I'm double checking my phone right now. I'm pretty sure we're
Yeah.
doing dynamic lighting, and that should be really fun. I know a lot of people want to learn, and a lot of people want to learn new tricks and tips and what have you, especially after the updated dynamic lighting. People are
Yes, the
definitely
new
want to know.
one.
Yeah. Has Roll20 considered a show where you feature specific marketplace creators? That might be cool. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, we have. Uh, like, it's a lot of it just is bandwidth and what we can get going with the staff that we have and organizing it. Um, I know we are starting to do um, not so much a show, but on the blog, we're starting to do interviews with different people and I believe
Mhm.
that they're going to start interviewing certain marketplace creators. I don't know that process. I don't know exactly how they're picking or what they're picking or what's going on. I know it's in development right now because we definitely do want to shine a light on all of the creators that uh, make this site really good.
Mhm. I do know that there's a show that will touch on that in development.
Oh yes, sorry,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
there
I didn't
is.
even think. Yes, there is. There is. You'll know why I'm laughing later. There's definitely a show in develop. Yeah, you just sat there like, "What the hell, Carlos?" You
It's
know?
okay. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
let you
no.
talk.
Yeah, yeah, there definitely is a show in development for that as well. Yeah,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah. So I think that's that. And we are going to see you next week. And I did confirm we are doing dynamic lighting.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Dun dun
We might run
dun.
over we might run over for that one, but it's really good. Awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
Yeah. Thanks,
Appreciate
everyone.
it.
And I don't know why my OBS is being weird, but that's okay.
Is it taking a long time to, like, load up once
No,
you click
there's
it?
an error screen, and I'm
Oh,
afraid to
no.
see what happens once
We'll
we're at
see.
the end of the stream, so it doesn't matter. All
No time
right.
for errors now. Cool.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.